Hey everyone, thanks for coming, thanks for listening, thanks for watching. This is the Awaken 24 podcast. I'm your host, Ziyi. Today we are going deep into Wu Zong, the origin of enlightenment, and we're looking at its core. And this isn't your typical topic for a podcast. It's more of a transmission of method. We're going deep. So whether you bought the Jiu Wu Tan Gong scroll, scroll one, or not, stick around because this may be your first time hearing the name Wu Zong, and rightfully so. It's a name I gave the practice after 30 or so years of practicing it, actually about 37 years of practicing it. And originally it had no name, but its general methodology was similar to Taoist Dantian work, lower, middle, and upper energy field cultivation, and Buddhist Chan Zen self-introspection, inner investigation of the mind. So for me, when I received the practice, it was only one method. And that was simple. It was breathe to the belly, attention to the pineal gland. That's it. I did that for 5 years. And within those 5 years, realization of the beginning, middle, and continuation of the practice happened. Wu Zong, being my first method in this life, is also the first of the three root methods in the Jiu Wu Tan Gong scrolls, scroll number one. Through my practice of Wu Zong, for the first 5 years, from ages 8 to 13, I learned and realized the foundation of cultivation. It's the nourishing of specific conditions in order to attain clarity, even though I didn't know what that meant then. But in time, I realized self-introspection practices, breath manipulation, chi manipulation, deep state cultivation, and the nourishment of unbiased sight or clarity and insight on my own through consistency. So I didn't have an intellectual understanding of clarity, of awakening in the traditional or classical Buddhist and Taoist sense. What I did have was a practice of single-minded focus, what I later called Wu Zong. And that revealed what I called clarity. Well, at that time. And that was from 8 to 13 years old. Later on in my 20s, when I learned Buddhist sutras and Taoist texts, I was able to compare and confirm what I practiced and revealed through self-introspection, single-minded focus, and other methods that, I developed and realized through Wu Zong. So a lot of this is all of it has been self-realization, practice, method, and practice. So when I talk about clarity and insight, it's the distinguishing between your thoughts and the thoughts or receiving of energy from others. Now that doesn't mean I can read minds or have psychic powers. It means I'm clear enough to know the difference between, what is trying to influence my mind and what I'm telling myself to influence myself. In that, in that perception, things did become more sensitive. So perception became sensitive, and it furthered my inherent observational skills in seeing other types of beings. This doesn't mean you will have that kind of insight too. It just means that through the depths of Wu Zong cultivation, these things occurred for me, due to the causes and conditions of my mind. In this type of cultivation, you got to be really clear about this. And depending on yours, Wu Zong would reveal those for you because it's your mind, not anyone else's. And all of what I've given to you in Jiu Wu Tan Gong and what you will find in the future volumes that I'll publish, came from consistent practice of Wu Zong. And in that text, I lay out a myriad of practices of cultivating the mind and energy. So the meaning of Jiu Wu Tan Gong will be talked about in another teaching, in another podcast, and further on in the books that I'll be putting out. So going into Wu Zong, let's look at its basics. What's within the foundational stream of Wu Zong? And of course, single-minded focus practice. Well, this is one of the many aspects of Wu Zong. Single-minded focus is a cultivation of keeping your attention on one point. This develops focus. It also allows one to observe in the beginning how the mind is pulled into different types of stimulation, like thoughts, physical sensations, emotions, daydreaming. It's a mirror revealing the cyclic habits of your senses. So if there's a physical or mental fatigue, thoughts and sensations that equate that will be revealed by thoughts and sensations of fatigue. Therefore, sleepiness. And the same goes for other things like stress, anxiety, sadness, joy, love, etc. And these things are revealed when attention is taken away from the momentum of activity in the senses. And in that process, as momentum in sensory production slows down, instances of stillness are revealed. Then activity starts up again. And it's okay that it does. And when it does, by no means have you failed the practice. You haven't failed anything. Every time you practice, you reveal something. As time goes by, You begin to reveal ways to maintain focus and investigate the mind, creating questions or insightful ways to untie the knot of stimulation. Let's liken this to a huatao, or a head phrase, like in Chen, is that you'll begin to naturally decipher a phrase, which allows you to hone in your focus to reveal the root cause of your sensory triggers. And in the traditional way, there's phrases like, what was my face before I was born? Or who is reciting the Buddha's name? So in that sense, you may create your own. And that should fit the conditions in your mind. Like, who told me I must feel this way? Or why did I believe I had to react this way? When did I begin to think like this or that? And well, you get the idea. So the huatao, or head phrase, is like a framework, a framework to investigate your mind. But the one that resonates with your mind is the best one. So Wu Zong practice is simply a revealing practice in the beginning. Whatever stages of practice you get to within it is up to you. And while that's happening, more and more, you will reveal the ebbs and flows of the six senses. And with that, you begin to realize the framework of perspectives, personalities, self-views, and all the things you formed to create that self. And through such contemplation, you begin to see a choice in whether or not you will continue being that way, engaging in whatever you have been, revealing their influences and seeing clearly the stream of conditions that ultimately bring out the outcomes you've always experienced. Ooh, that's a lot. It's a lot that this thing does, and does a lot more. So we're going to get into that too. I mean, here's where you cultivate changing and letting go, and where the liberation of your mind for cyclic sensory habits becomes the thing. Because you reveal, you actively, in wise discrimination, make the choice and then test to see how it plays out in your life. And this is the application of planting seeds and nourishing the ground. And all of that is just the beginning, and it stays with you a lifetime. And due to single-minded focused development, your energy begins to settle and refine. And refine means to save up, basically to save up and transform. And since you're not wasting energy on empowering cyclic habits, your mind, your energy doesn't feel fatigued. So your physical appearance of energy begins to strengthen. You feel energized, full, cognitively capable, some say. And this carries over into your everyday doings. And energy saved becomes an empowerment for your body and mind. So let's take this a bit further into cultivation of that energy. With full energy and focus really fully developed, or getting there, the mind becomes still in increments, little by little, like water unmoved, right? Eventually it's still. So you can throw a rock into the water and watch the ripples spread out, generally, right? However, with cultivation, because we have a focus unmoved, we're not moving our mind. When we direct our attention, it doesn't ripple everywhere. It stays in the stream, the direction we placed it in, for as long as our strength and focus can hold. And this is where Wu Zong moves from self-introspection and focus development, stillness revelation, to applying the strength of focus to cultivate what is internal energy at the dantian. This is like taking a fully developed olive and crushing it, pressing it to release its oil. Sometimes the pressure is enough to get it all out. Sometimes you have to apply more pressure. Sometimes precision matters, right? It's the same as this. It's the same thing with cultivating the qi in the body. So now that we've established Wu Zong at the mind and sensory application, at least get the perspective, we're going to bring Wu Zong into qi cultivation. Because abdominal breathing was already developed over some time, and focus at the abdomen with one's attention as well, stillness presents itself too. Throwing a directive or a framework in the mix can be handled without confusion. You won't get confused about what you're doing. So in the beginning of this practice, we formed the imagery framework of our attention at the lower dantian. So the lower dantian is primary, or is the primary energetic center of the human body, located about 2 to 3 inches below the navel and slightly inward. It functions as the body's main reservoir, refinement center of qi, if you will. The place where energy is gathered, stabilized, condensed, and strengthened. So when cultivated, the lower dantian supports physical vitality, emotional steadiness, mental clarity, and deeper spiritual development. In short, it's the foundation of internal power and true cultivation. So we send our attention there. And if you can't tangibly sense or even visualize the dantian, don't worry. That's not important, really. Just place your attention at the belly button. So because you are already doing abdominal breath work and developing single-minded focus, qi gathered at the dantian already, like it already just does that. But with purposeful intent, it does so even more. The technicalities of how the qi moves here and there are really irrelevant. So don't worry too much about these things. What's important is that you don't chase sensations. Because of your developed focus in earlier practices and stages, the impulse of running off on this or that feeling is weakened, and now you place attention at the lower dantian. So the intent is that your mind and your qi go there. That's it. You don't visualize entering it, swirling around it, or anything else. You just maintain the intention of qi moving and staying at the lower dantian. And this part of Wu Zong can be done for as long as you can maintain the practice. Definitely don't expect to just be able to do this without your mind moving to sensory stimulation. It's very possible and usually happens. It's going to happen. However, every moment of absorbed focus in this method is that much more cultivated qi. You can't rush that part or any of these parts at all. So maybe you hit 20 seconds, maybe you hit a minute, maybe you hit 2 minutes, but you sit practicing for 30 minutes and that's all you hit, those little bits of stillness. Eventually, your application and absorbed state will get stronger. Okay, don't chase it. It runs faster than you. So to check perspective, when you recognize warmth in the lower abdomen, it's a marker of having done the work. So stick with it. Don't get excited. It happens. It's inevitable. It's just a normal happening during practice. That's it. Where the mind moves to, the qi arrives. And that's really the only main point here. It kind of gets underestimated. Where the qi moves, it's because where the mind went. Most practice and they don't feel the qi. And they think they're doing something wrong. Whether what is really not explained is that qi is always moving, whether you feel it or not. And it doesn't suddenly exist because you were practicing some exercise. Where you place attention is where qi will accumulate. And qi is already doing that throughout the body on its own momentum through the frameworks of the body's systems. So when you deliberately practice cultivating qi for a specific purpose, just give it a framework, a directive, your intent, if you will. There cannot be a simpler explanation here. There's no simpler explanation, no simpler instruction than that. It's just something that's simply overlooked and underestimated, left to the side due to making exercises appear so complex that it should take the person months or years to get anywhere. This is the beauty of having realized the qi and the manipulation of it through non-religious, non-cultural, non-dogmatic, and non-commercial methodology. Wu Zong is just that. It's free from dogma. And that's how I learned it. Just straight practice, trial and error, free from made-up courses and stages and fluffy filler instructions to make things seem more complex and important. What's really complex is the mind, not the method. The method is simple. The mind screws things up. So now what? After having sat with attention at the lower dantian for days, weeks, and months, what do? Now it's time to direct that attention, that qi, upwards. And to be clear, the time frame isn't fixed, okay? Because in time you will apply these steps and future ones for this aspect of dantian cultivation with one intent. We're going to get there. So right now we build strength, familiarity, and skill. And as you engage your intent and focus, start from the lower dantian as always. And once your mind, body, qi are settled and calm, move attention, focus from lower dantian to the middle dantian, not up here. I'm just doing this up and down. So the middle dantian, the zhong dantian, is the energetic heart center located in the chest, generally around the sternum, associated with acupoint Ren 17, but felt as a spacious field filling the heart-lung region rather than a single point. It's not one small little spot, okay? It governs the refinement of emotional energy, transforming qi into shen, qi into spirit, energy to spirit, and it's responsible for compassion, sincerity, emotional clarity, authentic presence, so to say. So where the lower dantian stabilizes and stores energy, the middle dantian softens and harmonizes and radiates it outward, right? Like regulating breath rhythm, emotional balance, nervous system regulation, emotional responsiveness, stuff like that. And when cultivated, it develops warm strength. Just feels good. Grounded empathy, maybe. Calm emotional depth, clarity without rigidity, And when imbalanced, emotions dominate, stagnate, or make you feel numb. So in Taoist cultivation, it's like the chamber where human feeling matures into wisdom, allowing the heart's spirit to shine clearly without being overwhelmed by sentiment or detached into coldness. It's a good balance. So what do we do here? Well, that's simple. From your attention at the lower dantian, you can use an imagery framework. So that means creating the image of a stream of your attention, your energy, moving upward to the middle dantian. Okay. And you remain there as long as you can maintain focus. That's it. Same principle of single-minded focus from the very first aspect of Wu Zong is applied here. So there's really nothing different. Just because it's a different energy center doesn't make it a totally new type of technique. Just only apply your attention to the space. And when you feel warmth and presence there, just maintain focus. That's it. Of course, you'll be moved by sensations, emotions, thoughts, images, memories, and that's fine. It's going to happen. Don't hate on yourself for it. Investigate it after you stop practicing. Ask, why am I moved by such things? Whatever the thing is, what led you to believe such things? And whenever you go back to the middle dantian cultivation, always start from lower dantian and work your way up. Okay, so this is the cultivating, the doing, the refinement of mind and focus. When you're done, always return to lower dantian, settle the mind. The technicalities of how and what happens with cultivating the dantian, well, no matter what they are, no matter which one, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant while practicing, and only relevant when you're done practicing and reflecting on the happenings. Right? You don't want to sit there going through technicalities while you're in the middle of your practice, because then you're not practicing. You're just contemplating, and thinking and trying to form notions. And all these technicalities I'm talking about, they're individual. They're based on you. So if things happen as they do, it's because of your mind and what frameworks of experiences have been running through your senses. After some time, maybe a few days, a few weeks, a few months, you've now cultivated lower and middle dantian to a general point of kind of jump-starting the engines purposefully. And that's good. It's definitely not the end, because at this point, we now move to the upper dantian. Give you the spoiler of that before. So the upper dantian, shang dantian, is interesting. It's the spiritual and perceptual center located in the head. It's referenced around the area between the eyebrows, the intang point, but actually encompasses a much deeper sphere within the brain behind the forehead, associated with pineal pituitary complex and the quiet, luminous field of awareness. Get a little mystical there. It governs the spirit, Shen, perception, intuition, clarity of consciousness, insight, and the ability to see reality without distortion. Where the lower dantian stabilizes life force and the middle dantian refines emotional intelligence, the upper one, the upper dantian, clarifies awareness, allowing thought to settle into a direct knowing instead of conceptual speculation. When cultivated, it leads to a deeper type of stillness, intuitive wisdom, stable presence, deeper states of meditation, heightened clarity, and non-dual perception. Like, just cultivates all that on its own. You don't have to kind of tweak it yourself. Just keep attention there. When imbalanced, it can manifest as overthinking, disassociation, spiritual fantasy, or scattered awareness. In Taoist cultivation, the upper dantian is a chamber where spirit becomes it becomes luminous through sustained stillness and clarity and direct experiential awareness, non-dual, right? Fun. And this is the part where Wu Zong practice that I received first. Actually, it was like this. Here's the course on how I got it. The lower dantian to upper dantian cultivation in one breath. So through my first 5 years of cultivating this way, with self-introspection, I learned the nuances of the states that appeared due to my mind, the ebbs and flows of my cyclic sensory habits, and developed clear sight of things not normally seen by people. However, because of self-introspection, these instances of seeing what's not usually seen, it didn't blow up my ego. Things are seen and that's it. No one needed to know unless they knew about me already, and that was a totally different story altogether. So always begin at the base, and here's how you do it. Apply the method for lower dantian cultivation. Stay focused with breath and mind for as long as you want. However, I suggest 3 to 6 breath cycles. You inhale and exhale is 1 breath cycle. You take your time with it. Yeah? Then when you're ready, you move attention up to the middle dantian. Remain there for the same 3 to 6 breath cycles. Allows you to settle your focus and really get absorbed in it. And now, attention would move up to the pineal gland. And where is it? And I always suggest You look up images of the brain to find where the pineal gland is. Don't shoot in the dark. Don't do guesswork. Why would you? But after you find where the pineal gland is exactly, it makes it easier to direct attention there. But that's not all. It serves you to not only know the location, but feel it. So you got to feel it. Here's an even easier route to take. Okay. Do this if the more technical instructions are a bit too much at first. So from middle dantian, move your energy, your attention up to the intang point, right between your eyebrows. Okay, that's the lazy approach, I call it. But I started there, so don't hate. Okay, that's it. So go to the intang point, keep attention there, just straight up. Okay, eventually, just like keeping attention at the belly button, instead of tangibly sensing the lower dantian, attention and chi flow to the brain. It's always doing that anyway. But now it's just a little bit more concentrated because you're putting attention there. That's it. They'll flow to the brain and influence the pineal gland. And this is where being patient and delicate comes into play even more. You got to be patient. Can't rush it. Can't force chi. You can only give it a direction, maintain focus. So attention, intention, and the action of applying your intent. In time, could be a few moments, could be a few days, a few weeks, or months. I don't know. And I'll say it like that. You might feel pressure. You might feel a presence. It's just your chi accumulating. It's going to feel warm, pressure-like, magnetic, whatever it is. It's all good. And it passes too. So don't go chasing the state, just practice. Okay, stay there as long as your allotted time allows, and then bring your attention back down to the lower dantian. Stay there as long as you like, 3 to 6 breaths, 3 to 6 breath cycles, and you're good. Whenever you want to cultivate the upper dantian, just begin with lower dantian focus, same 3 to 6 breath cycles, then move up to the middle dantian, 3 breath cycles, arrive up at the upper dantian. It's consistent. The Wu Zong with this might seem quite intense. There's a lot of things going on, right? And all these ways of self-introspection, dantian cultivation aren't really that complex. Yeah, in truth, it all happens with or without your attention anyway. But when we intentionally cultivate it, the natural process of how chi moves through the body is magnified. Given another framework, and becomes stronger in that framework. The body does change a little bit. The brain changes a bit, and the mind changes a lot, a lot more. And the more you do it, the more things are revealed. And there's a lessening of the hold that the six senses had in shaping the world you see. But wait, there's more. There's a lot more. We don't just stop at the upper dantian. We go right to the top, to the baihui. Well, the baihui is like the crown point at the top of the head, maybe GV20. That's exactly what it is. Governing vessel 20, do 20. It's called the 100 meetings point. It's because we're countless, so many channels and influences and levels of awareness converge. Taoist cultivation, it's the highest yang point or the gate of heaven in the cultivation sense, where human consciousness allies with heavenly chi, celestial chi, lifting the shen, refining awareness, and stabilizing the mind above emotional turbulence without leaving the body. Don't just hop out. You could, but don't. In Buddhist cultivation, it represents upright awakening, the summit which awareness becomes spacious and luminous and clear. Physically, it harmonizes the nervous system, straightens up the posture energetically, connecting the human field with the larger field of clarity spiritually. It reminds the practitioner that awakening is not escape, but alignment. So when developed correctly, it brings steadiness, presence, clarity. When forced without grounding, it leads to fantasy, disassociation, instability. Just feel all over the place. Just keep it simple like that. So the Baihui stands as like the crown gate where human consciousness and heaven meet, okay? Refining perception without severing one's rudeness in embodied life. So from the lower dantian all the way up to the upper dantian, you apply the steps for each one as laid out before. Then, when you're settled at the upper dantian, bring your attention straight up to the Baihui. Stay there as long as you can. And that's it. Remain there as long as your attention and focus are capable of doing. If you waver in focus, it's okay. Take a breath. Bring your focus right back to the top. Just take a moment. When you're done, bring your attention straight down to the lower dantian. Remain there for 6, maybe 3, maybe 6 breath cycles. Up to you. And you can either end your practice or remain there. And if you choose to remain there, so much more can occur. And it isn't occurring because there needs to be more attained. It's just that there's a lessening of the hold of the senses and the cultivating of stillness, which reveals that which is realized It reveals the things that you can't talk about. And then you start to create a way to talk about them, which is cool. Uh, I'm very careful on how I go and approach things like this. I don't want to throw in seeds of imaginary happenings and then you start to experience them because you might want to test what I'm saying. And then it's like, oh, yeah, this is it. No, that's why I take my time a little. I think a little. Even if I prepared my work to read to you and really get it straight across to you, I'm still making sure this background programming I have is to make sure that what I'm saying is going to be exactly that, even though it took me days to really revise what I want to write to you and put up for the podcast. It's really important. I don't take what I tell you lightly. I take my time with it and break it down. And even while I'm reading to you, I'm still sifting through to make sure this is the right stream of wording and meaning behind it that I want to really bring across to you. So sometimes I flip it within the middle of the talk. Like we said before, there's a lessening of a hold that the senses have on you. And the cultivating of stillness is what is revealed as you're practicing and as you're realizing. And it's something not talked about. So, like I said, I try to talk about it anyway, but try to leave out some small fancy stuff. And that thing that isn't really talked about is this realization, the revelation, so to say. We start to touch on, ready? Non-separation. That's fun. And this is where we go to the next and final application in the steps of Wu Zong for qi cultivation. Okay. Um, in qi cultivation, we are practicing and building up focus and really applying and building good strength and all that. And after having cultivated each dantian, it doesn't stop at this point, right? We're going further. You can always go back to them, which I've been doing for the last 37 years. Okay, still go back to each individual one and practice all together. But here's how you're going to do it with one breath. And it's because of consistent practice and integration of breath and focused intention in your daily life that this one application is like a culmination of all you did in practice and all the effort and focus, all the energy saved from wasting away at sensory stimulation is now full, tonified. So from lower dantian, with one inhalation, your attention settles there and rises straight up to the baihui. It doesn't pass by the other dantian. It's just a stream in which your attention is moving already. It fulfills its designated path, connecting for the sake of understanding each dantian. Think of it as running right through it, straight up. And these are technicalities. Be sure not to make them too complex. It's just lower dantian right up to the baihui in one inhalation. And when you reach the baihui and you're going to exhale, remain your attention there. Keep your attention there. So you can use this imagery like the visual that it could be a good framework. Let's see. One steady stream straight up, one steady stream of qi running from the lower dantian to the baihui, straight up. Don't add color. Let it just be. Just be as it is. It'll reveal whatever it's going to reveal. No need to add anything. So don't do it. You don't want to rely on extras. That's the point here. So at the baihui, just stay there. And when you're done, attention right back down to the lower dantian and maintain there as long as you want. And that's the culmination of the full Wu Zong practice from self-introspection to dantian cultivation. It's really simple. And know that as simple as it is, after you begin your practice, you will indeed find the simplest way to make it work. And that's because cultivation is based on your capabilities, not anyone else's. It's not on a doctrine. It's not on other beings, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, immortals, whatever you consider gods as, or anything else. If you have the capabilities, the method is revealed. This is known as your own power, not external power. So at this point of the Wu Zong cultivation, it's taken such deep root that it's now the fuel of every other practice going forward in Jiu Wu Tan Gong, the sacred practice of celestial embodiment. And celestial embodiment, okay, let's clarify this. It simply means the unbiased thusness of one's true nature, original wisdom. Every method practice requires focus, emotional mental clarity, and breath control. That's standard. Because you gain that with Wu Zong, those skills and developments carry into everything you're going to do, whatever method it is, whether it's from Jiu Wu Tan Gong or something else. So for the three root methods of Jiu Wu Tan Gong, the first scroll, Wu Zong is first, then the Inlei Shenfa. And then the Ichi Zi Fa Da. So Inlei Shen Fa is like the hidden thunder body. It begins as a full body and mind practice, developing strength in the body and unmoved mind, unmoved will in the mind, actually. Then it goes way deep into chi cultivation. And you need those things because you develop that from Wu Zong. So it just carries right over. Then there's the Ichi Zi Fa Da, the path where primordial chi arises of itself. Ah, very fancy, right? It's the way of life. It's a path of life. It's a methodology of existing, right? The way you're going to move through life, which develops through the manipulating of energy. Get this, okay? Ichi Zi Fa Da helps you cultivate the movement or the directing of energy. Okay. Yeah, I said you're going to manipulate chi. So it's a lifestyle. Okay. Um, so through that, you're going to develop skills to manipulate chi, but to influence oneself in the mind and body. Um, you're going to do so to others responsibly too. So it appears as a chi transmission at first, but ultimately builds up prior, one's mind and prior developed skills from Wu Zong and Yinlei Shenfa. You're going to use that directly to influence the world around you with clarity and wisdom uh, through the energy emanating from the mind and body naturally. That's really it. So today presents such an in-depth look at Wu Zong, and it can go deeper, but that depth is best revealed through practice. So take it as you will, and perhaps one day you'll come to realize Wu Zong. The three root methods is Scroll One, Volume One of the Jiu Wu Tan Gong Scrolls, and it's available on Amazon Kindle and paperback. Yes, another book plug. You can search there, go directly to Awaken24/TRM, and you can find the links there. So thank you for being here today. Peace.